Ranked on Kings Canyon in Season 12 is well underway, and full of the hectic, chaotic amount of third parties we all know and hate. And I want you guys to not be hard stuck and rank up to Masters as fast as possible. So lucky for you guys, I have the secret sauce, so let's talk about Kings Canyon, where to land, the best playstyle for gaining RP and being consistent on this map, and I'll give you guys my key tip for gaining a lot of RP on this split. Let's go. What are the best POIs to land on Kings Canyon? Well, the best places when it comes to loot is Caustic Treatment, Crash Site, Capacitor, or Gauntlet. These places have the best loot, and you at least get like 1 purple if you guys land here. But what if the ship has a weird flight path? And you maybe see a lot of teams going to one of these spots. Well, you should do your best to look behind you on the dropship and see where teams are headed. And when in doubt, pick a POI on either far side of the map from where the ship is kind of going, and this will give you more time to see who's kind of around you, who's dropping with you, and figure out exactly and specifically where you're gonna land. You at the most only want 1 other team coming with you, because any more than that and you're just gonna get quickly thirded. It's best to maybe land safely but with not as good loot, then obviously get great loot but just get instantly thirded. What are the best team comps for ranked on Kings Canyon? Well, number 1 is going to be Octane, Valkyrie, and Gibraltar. Octane is the best movement legend for this map. You need sometimes quick getaways that sometimes cannot be planned with all the third parties that can arise on Kings Canyon. This is contrasting like an Ash Portal or Wraith Portal where you do have to take a little bit and you might have to be all grouped together. And especially in diamond lobbies, the pad can be that clutch tool for just moving your whole team away quickly with maybe a little bit less coordination needed. We know Valkyrie and Gibraltar are great pairing for Valk ulting away from third parties to safety, as well as those rotations, and Gibraltar just keeps you safe, wins all his 1v1s, and you can always swap Octane for Ash, Wraith, or Path. Next up we have team comp number 2. This is a faster, more aggressive team that wants to fight on edge and move along quickly. This team is Octane, Wraith, and Valkyrie. This team is pretty straightforward. You have 2 aggro legends and Valkyrie for the rotations if things get kind of iffy, you know, with all the third parties. Since you're going to be looking for edge fights and you could run into multiple teams maybe just ratting. And in some diamond lobbies, a lot of teams are playing super slow and just waiting for those edge fights. So this is why Valkyrie comes in very clutch, and double movement legend allows you to be a little bit more, you know, flexible when it comes to getting away from things. And if you want to switch it up a little bit, you can switch out Wraith or Octane for Bloodhound. They can help you with the info and being able to maybe end fights a little faster with all that intel and their ult. Finally, team comp number 3 is going to be a more defensive team comp. This one's more preoccupied to win the game and get their KP late, which is one way of avoiding third parties on this map and excel in the very slow dying lobbies that could be like 15 teams in round 3. And this is going to be Loba, Valkyrie, and Caustic. Valkyrie here is again for rotating, but this is more like early rotations to get a really good spot. Then Caustic is for defending, and Loba allows you guys to not run out of resources since you're not going to be really fighting a lot. She just keeps you guys kitted out and looting maybe the death boxes around you guys. And if you guys want a more detailed breakdown of the individual legends, check out my Who to Play on Ranked Kings Canyon video. Moving on to my key tip for Ranked on Kings Canyon, and I actually kind of lied. I actually have not 1, but 2 key tips for the split on Kings Canyon. First up is that you have to know where you're on the map and know how hot of a spot it can be for third parties. I'm going to throw up this color-coded image of Kings Canyon here, and the massive red spots are the spots that I don't ever want you guys to fight at. Just rotate through, get out of there, because a lot of teams tend to go through those areas, and if there's gunshots, it's very easy for multiple teams to get there, and I don't want you guys to get 3rd and 4th and 5th partied. You have to have an elite understanding of this map and know how easy it is for teams to get to certain areas, along with the knowledge of at the beginning of the game knowing how many teams are landing around you. This is all just going to help you guys avoid being third partied late in the mid game whenever. I don't want you guys to just hear gunshots and hyper focus. I want you guys to think about where you are on the map, the situation, your KP, all of that stuff. But no matter where you are on the map, the situation, early, late, mid, your team has to communicate, and that's going to be my key tip number 2. Communication. On this map more than ever, you have to communicate with your teammates. No matter how cracked you think you are, third parties and fourth parties will happen, and sometimes your IGL being able to be calm and cool and be able to make the correct calls in that chaos is the key thing of reminding your Octane to throw their jump pad or Wraith to portal away, or telling you guys, hey, keep your head on a swivel, there could be another team, or this is a straight 3v3, let's take it. Your team has to communicate the damage you are doing, where the opponents are, is there another team coming. There's so much information on Kings Canyon that needs to be said because of the third party situation. So you guys have to be sharp. So pop those mics out, communicate the information you see. Do you think it's a good fight? Do you not think it's a good fight? Are there more teams?
All that information is valid, and it's great to do, and it's necessary on Kings Canyon for climbing consistently.
And if you guys are finding these tips useful and want to support me for free, please drop a like on this video so it can spread to more Apex Legends players on YouTube. Thank you. And finally, what is the best playstyle for ranked Kings Canyon? The important thing I know a lot of players struggle with on this map is consistency. Because of the nature of the third parties on this map, it's easy to just get pinched, and your game ends like that. I will always recommend, if you feel confident in your team, to, if you can, contest off of drop. Take that initial 3v3 because it's some of the safest and easiest KP you can get, and this just sets you up for later in the lobby. If it's one of those really slow lobbies that you can't really comfortably fight, you have at least that cushion of some KP, and with placement points from 5+ being very high, you know, just having some KP really just gives you a little bit of patience and calm. You know, from this point on though, you really just have to be on alert mode at all times on this map. If you can get that early KP, you're definitely, you know, set up, and should not take a fight unless you guys can identify it's completely safe, because taking any KP into the top 5, like I was mentioning earlier, is just great in this rank system, and you don't want to waste them dying in the mid game trying to just be aggro or just get extra stuff. If you identify that it could be a clean third party, then go for it, or an isolated 3v3, do it, but you should still finish it quickly, then take your KP and get out of there. But if there's even an indication another team could be near, or the entry knock or damage doesn't appear, just leave, because teams are coming. And you rinse repeat this tactic to try and get your KP in the mid game. But if it's one of those diamond lobbies like I was mentioning earlier, with 15 teams maybe camping in zone 3, you didn't get any early KP, you have no option but to try and get the best spot in zone and just fight what's in front of you and be patient. Patience is key in lobbies like this. It's all about timing your pushes, but always, regardless of the lobby, once third zone is upon you, you have to sort of be thinking about the end zone, because some end zones are really free because a lot of teams are just camping on edge and are playing very scared. And if you have a Caustic especially, he's a cheat code in these scenarios. So if you can get the KP early, then play slow until you get position late, you know, that KP mid game is nice to have, but not essential. But if you see the opportunity with the right scenario and place on the map and you get that opening, take it. Be quick and lethal, and make sure your team's on the same page and communicating. And if you are solo queuing and want to gain massive and consistent RP, check out my solo queue to masters video for Kings Canyon.